legendary. Shaman legendary.
Welcome to your boy, you already know I'll be rocking. And in today's video, we are doing the Enhancement Shaman. Now, for those who don't know, the Enhancement Shaman is the, I think, the fourth oldest class I have. Rogue being number 1, Warrior being number 2, Hunter number 3, and Shaman number 4. You know what I'm saying? We got Deja and Tunda. Deja, as you can see, is our two-hander, and Tunda is our dual-wielder. Their specs are pretty much exactly the same. Only difference is Deja does not have dual-wield, where Tunda does. So that is the literal only difference. So here you go. Her build was literally, I just made it to give me as much power as I could possibly have. So here you go. That's everything. Like I said, Tunda is exactly the same. I did not go with dual wield specialization though, because if I'm not mistaken, this gear has a little bit of hit on it. So for the most part, you should be good. And absolutely nothing in restoration, because I just wanted all power. As I usually say in these videos, these are not builds that are up for debate. I'm not saying these are the greatest builds of all time. These are builds that I played back in the day that helped me absolutely stomp people out. Let's get to the video. So as many people know with the Shaman was capable of some pretty severe damage. With good old Wind Fury weapon. And then we had the fire elementals and all that. You had your lightning shield. But the main thing was this right here. Storm Strike and your Wind Fury totem. If I'm not mistaken, Wind Fury was for other people though, right? Yeah, I think that's for other people. That's for people around in your group. So anyways, how I used to get into my battles was, if I saw the person, it was always Frost Shock off rip. Get them moving nice and slow. You know, so I could close in the gap. Put down the what's the name? Parry. Oh, you filth. How dare you parry me. But yeah, basically that's how it would go. So, you Frost Shock first, to slow them down, of course. Get your distance on them. Put down your Fire Nova Totem, Storm Strike, and Earth Shock right after. That's how I used to do it. Let's go with Jadam here, because he has more health. If you were just that type of person, I know a lot of shamans who would pop heroism in battle. Didn't give no creps, and I don't blame them, because it is, incredible haste advantage.
I can't use that yet. That spell isn't ready yet.
Okay, I just noticed something. Fire Nova is not popping off.
That's still recharging.
Goodness. But there you go. Now, I'm not really sure why my Fire Nova totem isn't popping off, because it usually would work with no issue. Now, that's literally all there is to it. It's a shaman, you know. Of course, I don't have purge and everything down, because like I said in other videos, they're not fighting back, so it's not necessary to have purge down. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what I would do for my shamans is Frost Shock, slow them down so you can get your distance in on them. Right. Once you get your distance, your Nova Totem. For some reason, it's not working. But you understand the point. And from there in, all your damage and all your buffs start popping off on their own, allowing for some pretty vicious damage. Now with the dual wield, you get double your Wind Fury weapon procs. As you see right there, it says each hit has a 20% chance of dealing additional damage, right? Well, when you're dual wielding, it definitely does some serious additional damage because you get it more often. That is the advantage I can say that dual wielding has. I always loved the two-hander just because it looked cooler. But I think in a point of which is more useful and practical, I guess, probably would be the dual wield. And that's probably why Blizzard went with the dual wield in the end. And why we don't have two-hand to this day, and probably won't, unfortunately. I absolutely loved two-handers on the Shaman.
Spell isn't ready yet.
But I do kind of see their reasoning behind why taking dual wield over. Goodness. Very strong though. I do miss the big hits. The big hits to me is what was like the main thing everybody mostly loved about the two-hand Shaman, is when it did proc off and you could get it to go, especially back in vanilla. Man, it was another level of ridiculousness. The amount of damage you got from that was stupendous. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, there's not much more I can tell you. That's about it. That's literally what you do for the most part. Well, that's what I do. I don't know what anybody else does. Like I said, these are my builds that I used to play that helped me. So if you don't like the build, then that's perfectly fine. That's why I let people know. These are builds that I used back in the day because they work. Oh, we got instant procs. That's
Spell isn't ready yet.
I forgot to mana up though.
That's only charging.
Now see, as you can see, here's the problem with the two-hander, is there's a lot of open windows when them procs ain't popping off. Like right now, we're just literally melee swinging. And that, I think, is probably the major reason why they went over with dual wielding. So let's check out the dual wielding, you know what I mean? Also, you can't forget that the person you're fighting is most likely gonna be, a lot of times you're fighting people, you got to have lightning shield on. If you don't have lightning shield on, you're missing an actually decent amount of damage. Now with the dual wielding, you get more chance at procs. I think the main issue though that back in the day had was yep, there you go. The main issue that back in the day had was you missed a lot, as you can see. Hit rating was pretty big in vanilla TBC, and I'm pretty sure LEGENDxCULT PvP. Now a lot of this stuff does have, well, not a lot of it, some of it has hit. So your legs got hit, and if I'm not mistaken, your weapons got a little bit, and that's about it. Oh, your chest piece. Yeah, and that's literally it. And not, oh, your helmet too. Not very much though. It's not very much hit. So that is the main issue you will have with dual wielding, is you'll miss a lot. But if you don't miss a lot, the damage is as you can see, snapping. It happens right then and there. Not much time in between the person gets, because your swings are more consistent. You get them crits, flurry pops way more often. It'd be great if my Nova totem worked. I don't know what the heck happened. I'm gonna have to fix up my server. As you can see, fortunately and unfortunately, everyone's dying a lot faster with gold. It just sends the damage out so much faster. Resist! This boy got a lot of armor and health though, so don't expect him to die super fast. That is a healthy warrior right there. And boom, there you go. That is the unfortunate and the fortunate. Unfortunate because I freaking love two-hand. Fortunate because for those who wish to play the Shaman, you now know what's the better choice, realistically, in a long-term battle stance. You know what I'm saying? Because the two-hander is just, if you don't land a hit, if you miss especially, if you miss, it is the worst. I explained this in a video a long time ago, where I did a what if paladins could dual wield video for vanilla, and I explained why if a paladin could dual wield, it would be absolutely disgusting. And what happened pretty much is every hit procs Seal of Justice, and if you decide to go the command route, it procs a little too often. And it's not just the main hand that procs, which is something I learned as well. So for every time the paladin swings is that chance of getting a Seal of Command, and for every time that paladin swings is a proc for Seal of Justice every time. Which made it so ridiculous. The kill speed was way better than the two-hander. So for the two-hander, when I was going with the Seal of Command build and she would miss, then you have to wait a whole, let's say you're using the Monomythal, which is a 3.8 second weapon, right? You gotta wait a whole nother 3.8 seconds. Versus the dual wield, where I was using the Gressel Dawn and the what's the blade you get off Keldazad, the super fast tank blade, and I was using that on the offhand. Fast. So every time she would miss with the main hand, she didn't miss with the offhand, which means still Seal of Justice or Seal of Command still had a chance to proc, and it works the same way with this as well. So if I get behind them, yeah, that's a heavy hit right there, no doubt. But look how slow she's moving. You know what I'm saying? And let's say you miss, because all battles, every fight isn't going to be from the front. Especially when you're fighting a rogue. You get that dodge. And if you don't dodge, then that's good. But if you do, then there you go. You got to wait a whole nother 4 seconds practically to swing it. Versus the dual wielding is right then and there. It's going. Constantly. And in the end, realistically, that's more than likely why Blizzard went with the dual wielding in the end over the two-hander. Alright, now, another thing too to keep in mind, though the dual wielding, in my opinion, will probably be better for arena, the reason why I always went with the two-hander is because, like I said, I don't do arena. It's never been my style. I don't really like the whole rush in, try to murk each other, and to be battling for like 10 minutes. That's cool and all, but it's just not my style. The average person you're going to be fighting in BGs won't even have slightly bit of the gear they have, unless they're doing arena too. The average person you're fighting won't even have this gear, because this is the absolute best rating gear you can get. But because this character doesn't have any resilience, this is about, or she doesn't have much resilience, this is about the best I can give you. The average person you're going to be fighting is probably going to be somebody who freshly hit level 70 up to Season 2 gear, because that's what you can get without doing arena. And that's more than likely what most people will be wearing. Season 2 stuff. It's not weak, but it's not strong. Not nearly as strong as Brutal Gladiator. So the best bet I could give you for a good two-hander would be this character here. I can't give you much information on this character, not yet anyways, because she's a super build. She's a PvP character, but she's a super build. Okay, it's a build that is incredibly dangerous for you and whoever you're fighting. You know what I'm saying? That's the most information I'm gonna give you. Though I'll be having a video on them soon. I got a whole bunch of them. Those are AP power builds. But the average person will have little to no resilience. As you can see, look at the difference. So yes, two-hander does look good in video, because most people you're fighting won't have nearly as much health as you and won't have nearly as much gear as you. Now this character is incredibly geared. Like I said, you can obviously tell by her shoulders and what she's wearing. It's practically the same thing, just Raider. And instead of a robe, she's wearing pants. It's the same character pretty much. She doesn't have as much resilience as these guys, which shows you the difference. And that's what always made two-hander look so good on video. Now, if you're doing arena randoms, then of course you'll run into a group who might not have the greatest gear. And you've probably seen the few videos where it's like, oh, but I saw this guy with a two-hander in arena. He crushed the whole team. A lot of those don't be full truth. Obviously, it's not their job to show you what gear the person is wearing that they're fighting. Why am I talking weird? The person they're fighting. It's not their job to show you their gear, obviously. They're just making a video about a 2-hand shaman. So I can't say, oh, they're wrong, they lied. They didn't lie to anybody. They're just showing what they did in a battle. Basically, what I'm telling you is, if it's not like a full-on pro bout where both parties have stupendous levels of gear, I just don't see the 2-hander being like the premier arena build. I could be wrong. Like I said, I don't play arena. I don't do arena. So I could be wrong. But I don't know. I don't see it.
Legendary. Legendary.